Another update. It is sitting on the small tires because it can't fit in and out of the garage on the 40s. So it does run, it does drive. I've been tuning the mass airflow, because now it's in a bigger diameter tube than what stock was, so airflow was not correct. So I've been tuning that. I finally am done with that. One of the videos I said the AC wouldn't fit, but I had to make new mounts. You can't see it down there, but the AC compressor's in. Hoses are working. Eventually I'd like to make a little bit nicer set of radiator hoses, maybe out of aluminum. But for now, it is working. I made it some adapters so I could use the stock radiator. I was running into some issues. It was throwing a code P2534, I think, is what that one was. So I added this relay in here. That code is a ignition 1 voltage code, and that wasn't actually what the problem was. The aftermarket harness I bought had the transmission computer straight onto a fused ignition, and when you turn your truck off, the computer stays on for 5 or 10 seconds for its self-learning, and the transmission, the TCM, is supposed to stay on with it, but the TCM was wired straight to fused ignition. So you turn off the truck, TCM would shut off immediately, ECM would stay on, and that was throwing that code on the TCM, which actually was putting it into limp mode, so then it wouldn't come out of first gear. So once I figured that out, pin 59 is an ignition relay control. So I wired up a relay to where it is getting constant power, and the ECU is basically ground controlling the relay. So ECU turns on, it applies ground, relay turns on the TCM. So then when I turn off the truck, the ECM is still giving a ground to the TCM relay. So once the ECM finally decides to turn off, the TCM does with it, and that fixed that problem. And then obviously AC isn't hooked up yet, so I was throwing AC pressure codes, which was making my fans stay on full speed nonstop all the time, which was causing me to have not necessarily heating problems, but having a problem with the truck wanting to get up to temperature and stay at temperature. Like, I drove it around on Sunday for about 4 hours tuning it, and the transmission never got over 100 degrees. So I figured that out last night, fixed that, so now the fans aren't just on all the time. So fixed that, got that going. For now, for the test driving, I just have some trailer lights just kind of zip tied to the back. I was able to make the fuel gauge work with the GM tank and sender. I haven't played with the rest of the gauges. I think I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make that work or not. That's gonna be a whole lot of work, but it'd be pretty cool if I could at least have the RPM gauge, and maybe like engine coolant temperature. I think that would be pretty cool if I could figure out a way to make those work, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on it. So now that it's running pretty well, I might do some transmission tuning, shift points and whatnot. But other than that, now that it's running pretty decent, I think I'm at the point to where I need to go back to making my winch brackets. I might cut these fenders a bit more for the 40s. They clear, but they're pretty close. And then I'm thinking I'm at the point to where I need to build a bed so that I have something covering tires, or else I think I'm going to get pulled over if I keep test driving it without that. So I'm still torn between a steel bed and an aluminum bed. Aluminum would be nice just because I wouldn't have to worry so much about, corrosion, but that is more expensive in welding aluminum. I'm no I have a TIG welder, but I'm no expert. But yeah, I think that's where I'm at right now. It still needs exhaust. The downpipes are fully welded, and they go into a Y pipe, like right under passenger door. So it's relatively loud. So finishing exhaust wouldn't be a bad deal. At least a muffler and bringing it to the back of the cab. And then once I have my bed, I can figure out how I want to do that. And then I need to make a skid plate for the bottom of the tank. I don't know if I ever said this in a video, but I did a shackle flip because where I mounted the leafs on the front, it's lower on the frame. So I flipped the shackle, and now I don't have any lift blocks. So that'll help a bit with axle wrap. But yeah, I think that's all I've got for an update. It's getting there. Like I said, I think I'm at the point now to where I just have to build a flatbed. So I got to put the 40s back on it, figure out how high the flatbed needs to be. I'm hoping it doesn't need to be super tall, but we'll find out. So probably have to throw the 40s on it, get some measurements, and either go pick up some steel or order aluminum. Still don't know which route, but that's what I got.